Hi there, welcome to my little video review of the Eachine E160 versus the XK K130. Just before I start, I do want to apologise. This has turned into a long video, a bit of a beast as I got into it, and so I've broken it up into 4 parts. There's no stick banging 3D in here, so if you're looking for some really exciting 3D helicopter action, sorry, come to the wrong place. I'll probably fly about 1.25D, so I'm a bit more learner 3D as a pilot. I do want to say that I bought and paid for not just the E160 but also the K130, so the opinions expressed here are mine and I'm under no obligation to say anything nice or favourable about the helicopters. And I do want to say right now that the E160, I love it. It's a great helicopter, and if you care to stick through the review with me, you'll find out some of the reasons for that. So part 1 of the video series is the general introduction and also the first look at the E160. And mainly we're going to be talking more about the K130 in this session, so overview and in particular look at the deficiencies of the K130, take a look at the K130 in the Part 2, we're going to look more side-by-side comparison between the two helicopters, look at dimensions, weights, and then look at the relative features of the both helicopters. Part 3, bench testing. There's a bit more where the rubber hits the road, and so we'll look at thrust testing of main and tail motors, measuring head movements with pitch gauge on there, then review the results. Finally, part 4, if anyone's still watching at that stage, the final installment, we're going to look at the E160 version 2, why and what the version 2 is, then look at flight testing of the V2, and finally wrap up the conclusion. So the E160 released in June 2020, it has more than a passing resemblance to the K130. So Eachine have said, no, it's a complete new design, but well, yeah, maybe not. There also seems to be some relationship to WL Toys / XK. So as I understand it, WL Toys have done the electronic components, including the flight controller. And so when you look at them, they're very similar with the boards in terms of how they're set up. When I first flew the E160, I just flew it straight on my K130 model, and it flew like that straight out of the box. So what was wrong with the K130? It did follow the superb K110 series. Then the K120, a faster 2S version, generally had a pretty rubbish reputation, which I never bothered buying one. The K130, when it first arrived out, which was early 2019, it looked the duck's guts. It looked like this powerful, little helicopter with CNC head. We all hoped it was going to fix the deficiencies of the K120s, but wrong. So amongst faults, poor plastic gear servos, they were not good straight out of the box. General build quality was poor, tolerances on things not good. Main motor, basically lots of revs but no low down torque, so basically it would scream, but once you loaded it, the revs just plummeted and it would bog down. Tail drift during 3D, which you'll see more of later on. The motors run hot, both the main motor and also the brush tail motor run hot, which was not good. So there've been a number of deficiencies reported by customers, and from what I have seen, there's been very little movement from WL Toys XK to resolve those deficiencies. So they did fix a few things along the way, but generally there didn't seem to be a lot of interest in improving things. And I think that's really important to highlight, particularly when we look at Eachine's response to the E160 deficiencies. So apart from all of that, the K130s are actually still bloody good fun to hoon around with. I do still enjoy flying.
So this is probably just under 60% head speed on there. I'm just going to say, I might point out a few weaknesses of these, but I do quite like them. So that's my 60% idle one. We'll just do a few pitch runs. Conditions not ideal, bit of wind, but actually the tail hold doesn't seem bad on there. Like, it seems pretty good on that. But what it does do is you get a drift on it. So that's not bad there. It's not bad there, so we've got no rudder on there. The tail's just drifting out a little bit there. It's not showing it that badly. But you know, lots of power. I don't like it sort of too close, and it's not very visible, so I find it easier to keep it up where I can see it against the sky. After the K110s, this thing's got so much power it's not funny. It feels like a bit of a rocket ship. Yeah, I'm not sure if you can hear when I load it though. You hear how much the head speed drops. And obviously, you know, even at 60%, I'll go up to idle 2, which is about 80% or plus 80 throttle. Back in a little bit. Again, that tail's not looking bad, and you know, lots of performance there. But again, so you see that tail drift there? I'm not touching the rudder, and that's what, particularly as we're learning a bit of 3D, that is a little on the disruptive side, shall we say. But it's a good fun little heli. So, K130 evening flight, and I've actually dropped the pitch down, so this is idle 1, and that's plus and minus 10 degrees. I don't know whether it might bog a little less at that. Certainly a bit softer on the collective at that. Yeah, it certainly doesn't feel nearly as aggressive with that that pitch, that collective tone down. Idle 2, bit more collective. That's 12 degrees.